do you see on the title page of the scoping report, which is dated June 2016, it says River Oak Investment Corp LLC? Yes?
Finding it as I get older.
That's on the very first page. The absolutely first page, the title page, not even.
I see it.
Yeah. And then if you go to page 6, actually no, sorry, CD 16.4. This is the next core document. This is your informal pre-consultation document of July last year. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. And then go to page 6 of that. It is about River Oak. You see, River Oak Investment Corporation LLC is an American investment group based in Connecticut in the USA. You're familiar with this, and so on and so forth. I don't need to read on. What is, please, the relationship or connection, if any, between River Oak Strategic Partners Limited, who are now going to be responsible for the DCO application, and River Oak Investment Corporation LLC, which was responsible for the informal pre-consultation document and the scoping report, or at least in whose name that was submitted? What's the relationship, please?
In late 2016, River Oak Strategic Partners Limited bought the rights to process the DCO from River Oak Investment Corp. LLC.
I see. So there is no relationship. Is that right? I mean, it's not a subsidiary. River Oak Strategic Partners LLC isn't providing any funding. There is no relationship or connection between them.
That's correct.
Right? That is correct. Okay. No. And are you personally, Mr. Yerrall, still an officer of River Oak Investment Corporation LLC?
I'm not.
No. You were, but you're not any longer.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you. So, River Oak Strategic Partnership has taken over responsibility for promoting the DCO application from the US corporation.
Yes, bearing in mind that however the investment was going to be made, it would have been made as a special purpose LLC in the UK.
And, I mean, is any of this information that I've just elicited from you on the PIN's website?
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know. I mean, do you know whether PINs have been told that it's now Strategic Partnership, not the LLC, the US LLC, that will be submitting the DCO application? Do you know whether PINs have been told that?
I do not.
Don't know. All right. The authorization under Section 53 of the Planning Act for entry to be gained to the site in order to undertake survey work, yes?
Yes.
And there was a good disagreement about that, and PINs decided that right should be granted, yes?
Yes.
I mean, obviously, this is a subsidiary point entirely, but you'd accept, I'm sure, that the landowner is perfectly entitled not to agree to that. As landowner, there's no reason why they should cooperate with you in allowing access to their land, is there?
According to the Planning Act of 2008, I believe if we can demonstrate that we've got a project that is a potential NSIP, a nationally significant infrastructure project, there ends up being an obligation to cooperate.
But they were entitled, the point I'm putting to you is that the landowner is entitled not to agree that the criteria are met and to let PINs decide, aren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah. All right. But that authorization, I understand, am I right, for the purposes, as I say, of undertaking survey work for the preparation of environmental reports, was granted to the LLC, wasn't it, the US company?
I believe so, yes.
And that was actually, yes, okay. By which company have those rights been exercised, please? Or do you not know?
The rights to enter?
Yes.
Let me back up a step. The project, when it was owned by River Oak Investment Corp, was always headed by Niall Lawler, Tony Freudman, and myself. So the company that entered the site was River Oak Strategic Partners Limited, having bought the rights to the DCO at approximately almost simultaneously the same time as the PINs granted access.
All right, so exercised by strategic partnership, having bought the rights, is your answer?
That is correct.
All right, thank you. Now, just go back to your proof of evidence, please, if you would. So this is your main proof, not your rebuttal proof. Again, in the first section, section 1 that is, and you tell us about your extensive experience as an investor. Sure, none of that's in any doubt, and the various notable opportunities that you personally have participated in. But there's nothing, at least, that you've told us about that to date involved projects in the UK or Europe. Is that correct?
For myself, all I have to show is 3 years of trying desperately to do a deal to buy the airport at Manston in the UK.
Yes. So no, it hasn't, other than your desperate attempts to get Manston off the ground, yes?
That's correct.
Nor have you been previously involved until this one, at least. At least you don't tell us that you have in any aviation-related project. Is that correct?
That's also correct.
All right. Thank you. Now, do you appreciate, I'm not sure you do, Mr. Yerrall, but I'll ask the question to see what the answer is. Do you appreciate that the acceptability and feasibility of River Oak's emerging proposals for a cargo operation at Manston will be tested not through this appeal process, but through the DCO process once you've made the application?
I do appreciate that.
Good.
What I understand the distinction to be is that the appellant has relied on evidence stating that for any number of reasons the airport is not viable, and that my testimony has needed to come in as to it relates to viability to counter the appellant's your evidence.
I see. Well, you see, you're referring to your financial analysis, aren't you?
All of it.
Yeah.
The traffic forecast, the capacity issues, all of it.
Well, the traffic forecast and capacity issues are largely dealt with by Mr. Kane and Dr. Dixon.
That's correct.
Setting that aside. Well, let me ask a compendious question then. Your evidence in the form, particularly of your financial analysis, and the material that's been submitted to the inquiry by Mr. Kane and Dr. Dixon had not previously been put into the public domain, had it? That is, until it was submitted as part of your evidence for this inquiry.
That's correct.
That's correct, okay. And would I be right in thinking that that material, amongst no doubt a lot of other material, will form part of the material that's submitted in support of the DCO application?
Yes, I think it's accurate to say it'll be some part of what's submitted.
That's very fair. I mean, there may be some changes. I'm not suggesting it has to be identical, but that material in substance will find its way into the DCO application, I expect. Is that right?
I expect that the information submitted at the DCO will be far more in-depth.
Yes, all right. That's fair enough. And of course, you'd accept, I'm sure, wouldn't you, that much of the information that's submitted as part of the DCO application may be put into issue by my clients, the landowners, by the council, by other interested parties, once the application has been made. You'd accept that that's possible, at least, isn't it?
Based on my experience, I would say I'd expect it's likely.
Likely. All right, fair enough. I need you to say that, and I'm happy with that. And if it is put into issue, which I think we agree is likely, not necessarily all of it, but some of it anyway, the relevant authority that has to consider and determine the DCO application will have to consider the evidence and determine the issues, and whether you're right or the objectors are right or somewhere halfway in between. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. We've had an illustration of this, haven't we, today, Mr. Yerrall, from the appearances by Save Manston Airport, No Night Flights, and Mr. Crow. That's an illustration of the sort of things that's going to be argued about at a later stage, isn't it?
In all likelihood.
It's not your evidence, is it, Mr. Yerrall, that because this material has been put into this inquiry, that the appellants and the district council must be taken to accept all of it as correct, is it? You're not saying that.
What I'm saying is it's a true representation of what happened. How other people respond to it is not up to me.
Yes, I mean, I'm not suggesting you don't believe in the material for a single second. Of course you do, like all intending applicants do. I think that answers the question sufficiently. Thank you. I mean, the other thing is this, isn't it, Mr. Yerrall? You've already said that even the material or the subjects or topics that are covered by your financial analysis and by Mr. Kane and Dr. Dixon's evidence are likely to be submitted in I wrote down here, far more depth as part of the DCO application. Yes?
Yes, further work will be done.
Further work will be done. But that's not all, is it? If I can, without exaggerating, I hope, put this to you, there's a huge amount of other relevant material, such as the environmental impact assessment, or the environmental statement that will have to be put in as part of the DCO application, that's still being prepared and isn't yet in the public domain.
That's correct.
Yeah. And the environmental statement will have to cover matters such as those that Mr. Crow mentioned, noise impacts.
That's correct.
Yes, all right. And that will have to be very carefully assessed, no doubt.
I would expect.
You would expect that to be the case. All right. Can we now move to a rebuttal proof of evidence, please? And paragraph 2.14. I feel motivated, rightly or wrongly, to leap to Thanet District Council's defence here. When you say in 2.14 of your rebuttal evidence, in the second sentence, that at each step, with both administrations, it seemed clear that TDC either didn't understand how the CPO would work, was feigning interest in a CPO to further a different political motive, or was simply too nervous to enter into an indemnity agreement to compulsorily acquire something as large and complicated as an international airport. There's no actual evidence of any of those things that you suggest, is there?
Actually, the response to the documents we presented to them in the form of an indemnity agreement, in the form of what we call the white paper from Rag Lawrence Graham, left me with the conclusion that I used in sentence 2.
Yes, that's your inference from what happened.
That's correct.
Yeah. Well, let's I hope not take up too much time, but I think it's probably necessary just to look at some of the documentation. If you can find or have found for you CD 15.1, which I confess is one of the core documents that's a great deal fatter than it needed to be, but there it is. Let's not engage in that particular discussion. You will find, Mr. Yerrall, that CD 15.1 is quite a large document, but if you go right to the back of it, you'll find the bit that is relevant to this particular point. So if you go right to the back of that very fat, exactly, if you do that, and then go back a few pages, in fact, to page, you see page 10 is the last page, And if you can go back to page 1 of those 10 pages, I think you
Is this agenda item 4 you're talking about?
Excellent. Cabinet, 11th of December 2014. You see Manston Airport exploration of CPO indemnity party. Is
Yes.
Partner.
Mr. King, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, that's all right.
Is this CD 15.5 we're looking at? Or
I think it's part of CD 15.1. Have I got that wrong?
15.1?
No, I'm sure it is part of CD 15.1. If you go to the, I've got CD 15.1 in a completely separate document that only has CD 15.1 in it.
Right.
Is that what that is?
Well, I've got a number of tabs here which aren't numbered, but what are we looking for?
Well, can you go to the very back of that? Is the very last page of the document, does it say page 10 in the bottom right hand corner? The very, very last page of the whole file.
No.
Bottom right hand corner.
No.
Right, that's the wrong folder then.
This is CD 15. I've got.
Yeah, but there are two parts to CD 15. Although I'm bound to say the other part to CD 15 that I have is much thinner than that. Might I just have a quick look at it? Would that be acceptable? You and everyone else.
Go ahead.
Just to see what
It's a weighty document.
it is.